Okay, so in the previous file, I almost spaced out that we need to save this, okay? So I'm gonna hit File, go down to Save As, and hopefully this takes me to my folder. This folder will work. It's in the Images folder of the week 12 for this class, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna call it, I guess, Collage. Not really sure what to call it. So that'll work. No, I'm not gonna spell it right. Anyway, yeah. We'll just call it Layers for After Effects. That makes more sense. Layers for After Effects. I'm just going to save it as a normal Photoshop file. After Effects is going to recognize this, so this is great. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. All right, so that is saved, and I need to open Adobe After Effects 2020. I'll just pause this video till it opens. Okay, so After Effects is opening. This is a common problem. I don't think that my graphics card is supported anymore, or you might need to download the drivers for whatever specific graphics card you're using, okay? In this case, I'm not going to worry too much about it in the sense that what I want to do is just continue with the known issues, okay? So I can still use After Effects just fine, and we are good to go. Now, in After Effects, you're going to get a few windows that pop up. We don't really need very many of them, so if you see something like this one's fine. You can just simply click New Project. Or if you had an existing After Effects, you can click File, New Project. I'm going to create a composition. So I'm going to hit Composition. I'm going to go down to New Composition. And I'm going to click on that with my left mouse button. We could label this. And I'll just call it what it is for teaching purposes. So Layers. Oh, I'll just put PS Layers. How about that? Photoshop. PS underscore layers. That's going to be my main composition. Okay? This is set to 1920 by 1080. That's going to be 1080p. 30 frames per second is fine. I believe that's what I recorded some things in. In this case, that's going to be like animation. If you wanted it to be something smaller, you could put 24 frames per second. That is generally film. If this is going to go for NTSC television, you can put 29.97. You do have a drop down here. You'll see 29.97. That's usually for NTSC television. 30 is going to be for 3D animated films or 2D animated films, depending on if they want to go 30 base. So base is a term for the frame rate at which you're at. So 30 is generally for animation. 29.97 for NTSC, that's television in America. 24 frames per second, that's usually film. So feature films. So animations could be that if they are adhering to some of the film rules, or if they are going to be animated on top of film or working with film, okay? Anything above that could be for video games or for IMAX. So I'm just gonna leave it at 30 frames per second. I'm not partial to anything else. And if we're playing this back on computers like YouTube or something like that, it's gonna be fine. It really interprets really well now. So there's a lot less you have to worry about. It's pretty friendly these days. The duration, we talked about this last time. The first section here, those are frames. So you go by frames per second. In this case, 30 frames is going to be 1 second. So this is going to hit 29. And then at 30, you will get 1 second. So where the 5 is right there would be 1 second. So basically this is saying 0.5 is 5 seconds and 0 frames. Okay. The one following the 5 to the left is going to be your minutes. And the last one is going to be your hours. Okay. So frames, seconds, minutes, and hours. Okay, so if you select this and you type 500, it's giving you an example right here. It might be a little hard to see, but that is 5 seconds, 0 frames. Okay, my background color is going to be black, and I am good with this, so let's hit OK. Perfect. Now, to bring in my Photoshop file, it's pretty simple. This is my projects panel. These are called panels, project composition, so on and so forth. We kind of covered this, but we're just going to work, and I'll explain as we go. So inside of the project panel, I could either double click in here, the gray area, with my left mouse button, or I could have gone up to File, down to Import, and over to File. Same thing, okay? I'm going to take you to the same window. It's fantastic. So what I'm looking for is, I do have my images folder, so it did recognize that. And that's just something that I was using recently, so it just knew to go there, and I am grateful for that. So there is my layers for After Effects. That is my Photoshop file that I just saved. I'm going to click on it, and my import options are what I have to change, basically. Okay? So import as footage is not going to work for me. I'm going to drop that down, and I'm going to go down to composition, retain layer sizes. That's going to retain the layer's actual size opposed to the entire composition itself. And you would see a difference. I'm not going to show that right now, but if I do composition retain layer sizes, that's what I want to go for in this case. Okay? I'm not going to use a sequence, so make sure that there are no sequences checked in this checkbox. So there should be no check marks on this side at all. Okay? What I'm going to do is hit import, and it's saying, would you like them to be editable layers or would you like to merge them? Since I put everything on its own separate layer inside of Photoshop, I want to keep them editable. So editable layer styles. Okay? And there's my composition type. Retain the layer sizes. So I'm going to hit OK. And you're going to notice here that I have two compositions. This first one that I named, the layers for After Effects, that is my main composition. I could have even selected it and hit enter and called it main comp. Okay? You can use underscores, whatever makes sense to you. If I put an underscore between there, that's good. Okay? It brought in another one, and it's called PS Layers. All right? Oh, actually, that's my main comp right there. My bad. I can hit Control Z to undo that. That's layers for After Effects, but my PS Layers, that was supposed to be my main one. So I select it, and to rename it, I hit enter on my keyboard. Or return if you're on a Mac. And then I'm going to type in main underscore comp. So I know that it's my main composition. Okay? It will change the name down here to main comp, since that's the first one that I created in here, and I brought the other stuff into that. So it brings my layers into a folder here. We call those bins inside of After Effects and inside of Premiere. So if I drop this down, you're going to see that this bin has all of my layers from Photoshop. Okay? And what I can do is select them all and simply drag them down to my timeline right down here. Okay? Now there's a few of them I don't need, and to see that, I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know if you can see my cursor as well. Get a little blinkage going on here. That's okay. But I'll click and drag this out so I can see the layer a little bit better. Okay? It did rename some of the layers, like this picture here. That's the one that I got online. Okay? So I could rename these inside of here by selecting it and hitting enter and then, changing it. All right? These eye icons will show or hide the layer that I have selected. Oh, I never changed this layer. So I could click it, I could hit enter on my keyboard or return, and I could type in texture. If it's a specific texture, then maybe I will type in that specificity, but I don't need to, okay? Because really I only have one. So that's okay. Here's the guy. If I click the eye icon, you can see him. So I could select it, hit enter. I could just call it guy. Foreshortened. Not even sure if I'm spelling that right, but I understand it, so it'll work for me. The next one here is the black background. I might need that, might not. In this case, I'm just going to select it and hit delete on my keyboard, and that'll go away. I still have it up here should I need it. I could drag it back down. So not a big deal. The other one, I'll click the eye icon. There's the white background. Very good. Process of elimination, I'm going to delete that one too. So you just select the layer and hit delete. As for the text, I'm going to turn that on, and there we go. There's the text. So that's pretty nice. Now I'm just going to have to arrange this, and it's going to be nice and simple. So before I do anything else, I'm going to save this file, save as, and I could save it in the same spot. So I'll just kind of drag up this way, and I'll click on images. And normally I would make folders for each one of these things. So make sure that your project management is going to be better. Make folders and put things where they need to be and save those in a main folder so that you can take that main folder and always have it with you when you copy it and paste it onto a thumb drive or put it on Google Docs or something like that. Something that you can get to, whether you're using Dropbox, whatever, okay? But I'm going to call this, what could we call this thing? Let me see here. We're dealing with layers inside of After Effects from Photoshop. So We can just stick with layers from Photoshop. Something nice and simple, at least for now. If you're working on a project for a company, you probably have a client name or a project name or a project shoot name, or you're going to be doing this shot by shot, scene by scene, and you'll name it accordingly. In this case, I'm just kind of working on this, and you know what? It works for me. So there's my save. That will end this tutorial, and then we're just going to start animating in the next tutorial. See you soon.